In a case of misidentity, she was known as Novox for so long, but now the truth comes out. Her name has always
been Low. I don't know why I'm doing this intro. This intro's stupid. Hey guys, this is Tombox, and today's video we're covering Voiceless Voice. And we've covered them initially through the Rarity Reveal Week, but now we're gonna go into the details. Now, some of you guys are thinking, can you guys eat a Droll and Lockbird and play through the combo? And I'm gonna say, yeah, you could probably eat a Droll and still get to the end board. Yes, you can still put out the rituals without ritual summoning, so I'm gonna showcase to you guys that combo in the early beginning of this video, and I'll even give you guys the basics, so we're all aware of the fundamentals. This is the fundamental profile after all, and yes, we are also choosing to play Nadir's Servant in this video. So Nadir's Servant is also going to be part of the package. I'll explain why, but I'll probably just demo it. So make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and hit subscribe to get that notification bell, and let's just jump in. Today we're doing combo tutorials. First, we've got 3 of them lined up for you. We've got the Diviner opening line, which is essentially the Low opening line. Then we have the Nadir Servant opening line, and then finally we have the Droll and Lockbird. What happens if you eat a Droll? Can you still build a full board? The answer is yes. I'll show you how, because you can copy my homework, alright? So, you know what, without further ado, let's start with the Diviner line. Starting with the first combo, normal summon out Diviner of the Herald using her effect. We're going to send to the graveyard Trias Heracha, or if this card is in your hand, instead you'll send Herald of the Arc Light, which will activate and add to your hand a ritual spell or a monster instead. But if you have this, it's not bad either, because it's a quick effect to tribute from hand as well. And so now that it's in the graveyard, activate Trias Heracha, pay cost, tributing the Diviner of the Herald, and summoning this in defense mode. Activate Diviner of the Herald's trigger in the graveyard because it got tributed, summoning out Low, the prayers of the Voiceless Voice. Low effect on summon, that's going to get you the Barrier of the Voiceless Voice. However, if you already have Barrier of the Voiceless Voice, instead play this onto the field as well, so that you can get additional extender and disruption during your opponent's turn. You want to end on both of these on the field as much as you can, because without one of these, it's just way less stable. Then we have Barrier of the Voiceless Voice, the once per turn add. We're going to add Saphira as the opening play. Saphira effect, we're going to activate that. Even if you're stuck under Droll and Lockbird, you can still activate it, because adding a card is optional. So we're going to add Skull Guardian in this particular case. You have enough materials to tribute to do the ritual summon through the Saphira, so you can activate the Saphira here. In a basic line, you would just tribute the Low, and then you would summon the Skull Guardian, and then Low will activate in the graveyard, summoning herself back, as well as giving you the Skull Guardian effect to give you an additional monster. You can go for Saravis or the other Saravis, depending on what's already available. If you already have, say, the trap card, then my preference is typically to go with the other Saravis, so that I can shuffle it back into the deck and just give myself a free monster, leaving the spell card in the graveyard. You want to leave 1 copy of Prayers of the Voiceless Voice in the graveyard, just so that you have a contingency plan when your opponent attempts to remove your monsters. So this is the more basic lineup, but there is a different way to kind of play this out. Of course, you can take these monsters and still turn it into something else, which I do still recommend, because right now you still don't have the trap card, so we're going to link away the Low and the Skull Guardian into Dynamondo. Alright, with Dynamondo on the field, this is going to allow you to perform a tribute on your opponent's turn, immediately to summon back the Skull Guardian, which will in turn summon the Low back onto the field. And that's going to activate, and that's going to be able to help you put this onto the field if you're missing it. And now you have the full level of disruption against your opponent, which is good, alright? And this is kind of what you're looking forward to. Even if you get super poly or whatnot, you do have a follow against your opponent, which is what we're looking for. So this is the basic line. Omni Negate, some level of disruption. If you have a ritual spell, you can banish this. If this gets cleared, then you can summon another copy or summon a different monster. If you can resolve Radiance, you can summon out this, and in turn summon back a different ritual monster. So that's kind of where most of your disruption is coming from, and you can also use this and just blow up your opponent's cards as well. So next we have Nadir Servant. It's essentially very similar to Preparation of Rites, except that you get to dig for additional cards along the way. And remember, you need this plus one of the ritual summoning piece, because you're going to try to perform the ritual summon of the Skull Guardian to get to Low. So we're going to start off with the Nadir Servant. We're going to put into the graveyard the Garua so we can get ourselves an additional card. So we're going to do that. Now we lock ourselves out of the extra deck summoning, so that's fine. We got Maximus, and from there we're going to be able to draw a card, right? So it doesn't really matter. We're gonna do it in the more simple fashion. So affect the Garura, we're gonna draw a card, which is cool, a blank. Next, we are going to activate the Maximus, and we're going to banish the Garura. Special summon out the Maximus, activate the Maximus. We're going to put these two into the graveyard. And so we're going to draw one and then chainlink one, chainlink two, draw and put back, draw and whatever, we gotta put it back. And then we're gonna go for the Herald effect. Herald is going to grab us the ritual spell. Alright. This allows us to kind of just bypass and do multiple steps to kind of get there, which is why some people prefer preparation rites or pre-prep. But this is just how I personally like to play instead. Because I find that Nadir's Servant can help you throw like Entis into the graveyard. You can put Malong into the graveyard to kind of push your opponent's cards away. That's why I prefer it over the other one. So it helps you break the board along the way and get set up along the way as well. So next we're going to activate Prayers. We're going to tribute the Maximus, summon out the Skull Guardian. Skull Guardian effect. That's going to grab us the low. So now that we can get the low, we can do the normal summon. Normal summon out the low. Low effect. That's going to put the barrier onto the field. Activate the barrier. Get the trap card now. And so this gets you the full setup. Remember that this was the card that was already in hand. I still technically have 3 additional cards. So if we had 3 additional cards, this is going to be very, very different. Yeah, this would have been super different. You can set a super poly. You have disruptions against your opponent. So Ravis can technically summon itself out. Wow, this is actually kind of crazy. This is a little bit better than I thought. But from just a simple 2-carder, getting yourself all the way here, thinning your own deck down, it's not bad. So this is how you play into a Droll. If you have Barrier plus a Diviner, then you don't need to scoop if you see Droll. Let's do the stupid thing. Let's just allow Droll to happen as one of the earliest things in the game. We're going to activate Barrier with the Voiceless Voice instead of Diviner. And we're going to add to our hand Saphira. This should always be Saphira. And now they activate Droll. Wow, that sucks. You're under Droll and Lockbird. What do you do now? Well, in this particular case, we're going to normal summon out the Diviner now. Diviner effect. We're going to put Trias Horacha into the graveyard. We're going to activate Trias, tributing the Diviner. So it'll be like this. And Diviner effect is going to allow us to summon out Low. Low's effect is to put cards straight onto the field. So we're going to place Radiance of the Voiceless Voice onto the field. Now we're going to activate the Saphira. We don't get to add the Dragon because we're locked out, and we're going to be locked out regardless. So we're going to be putting the Prayers of the Voiceless Voice into the graveyard. We're going to activate Radiance of the Voiceless Voice. And we're going to shuffle back our Prayers of the Voiceless Voice. And that's going to allow us to summon out Isoravis. And you see where we went here? We can shuffle up now. It doesn't really matter. And from here, we don't want to get super polyed, so we're just going to take these two and we're going to link them away. And we're going to turn them into SP Little Knight. Why not? If you want to banish your opponent's cards, if your opponent has cards for you to banish, then you can definitely do that as well. You just convert to Link Rebo first. But in this case, we're here now. So during your opponent's opening turn, when they perform their first action, you can chain Saphira. If you chain Saphira and they can't disrupt you fast enough, then you get to summon out Skull Guardian. Skull Guardian is summoned. Low gets to be summoned. Low effect. Put another copy of Barrier onto the field. Really just messes with your opponent this way, doesn't it? And so now you have your negation back, you have your destruction back, and yeah, this is how you play under a Droll Lockbird. I didn't need to do a ritual summon to put the ritual monster onto the field. Well, before we continue, check us out at MSTmerch.com for your card game essential needs. I know you guys have been eyeing these foil sleeves for some time now. If you guys haven't seen them already, these are the LT Instinct and the LT Ego. Here's the shine pattern on them. But yeah, these are the OG MST ones. If you guys have these, I know you guys are the OG, and it really showcases that you guys are a fan of MST.TV. And of course, for foil sleeves, they can get scratched up, so we do also offer over sleeves to protect your foil sleeves, and just to showcase that they work for the Yu-Gi-Oh size sleeves. So here you go. And for the carbon series, we have the whites, the pinks, the blacks, the whites. All of these we sell them in multiples and big bundles so that you can get them at a big discount, but they have the smoothest shuffle feel. They remind a lot of people of the classic PC white, the closest thing to it, so I'm really glad that we have these available for you. Box dividers. You might have heard me mention about box dividers from time to time. Now, when you're sorting your collection, you have like these little tabs. I made these way back in the day. I found these like kind of in my trash bin, and yeah, I kind of got rid of these because I designed these ones myself, which are just bigger. If you want to do a little size comparison, they stick out. I don't want them to get buried in my collection, and I have horizontal boxes as well, so you can actually rotate them, and then you can use them as a horizontal box divider as well. You have the letters right there. And some people are like, well, just fit in a top loader. You're right, you could fit them into a top loader. See? And now they're sticking out even more, and they're perfect fit for a top loader, just in case you want to sort your collection that way and have everything stick out. And that was the quick demo. Thanks for checking out MST.TV. Now, I've already talked about these cards in the Konami reveal, so we have 3 copies of Low, 3 copies of Saphira, 1 Dragon Sage Ceravis. I can tell you this much, if you want to win with this deck, you'll need to manage this card really, really well and maintain the resource of this and the trap card. Alright, if you can do that and maximize and minimize the cost that you have to spend on half of your cards, then this is where you're going to get your victory. 3 Diviners and 1 Trias, 1 Dogmatica Maximus, 2 Skull Guardians. 2 should be enough. You don't need a third one. It's going to get really bricky, and you can cycle them using the trap card, so you can just keep on shuffling them back in and then resummoning them with the Ceravis. And the other 2 rituals, we have Ceravis and Odd Eyes Pendulum Graph Dragon. Note, you don't want to misplay on this one, which is you can't summon this one with Ceravis. You have to summon this one through a ritual summon. So that is one of the biggest limitations. And this is something you're going to have to call people out for, because it does have a spell negation, which is really strong. Hand trap lineup: triple Ash, double Nibiru, triple Veiler, triple Imperm. Done. You know what? You just want to stop people from being able to play, and apparently if you don't play hand traps this format, you're going to get yourself rolled over pretty hard. I'm not maining Droll. I wanted light-based hand traps so that I can also use them as tribute fodder if needed. As for the spells and traps, I play 2 copies of Triple Tack. You could choose to play Crossout instead. I did play Crossout before, but it made my hand trap line a little bit more awkward because I had to put stuff like Droll in there as well. And I know people are going to be citing DD Crow against it. That's the trend in OCG, so maybe it's worth a try, but Triple Tack has worked more or less the same, because if you can play around the Droll anyway, then it doesn't really matter whether or not they hit you with a Droll. So Triple Barrier, you know, just given this staple for the deck. Triple Nadir Servant. I prefer this over Prep Right, as I mentioned earlier, just so that I can break board while building up the board rather than just straight up getting 2 cards. Triple Super Poly, because I want to play Triple Super Poly. I like to break boards, and it just simplifies the game state for me. And finally, the last trap card, we have 1 Radiance of the Voiceless Voice. You want to play more than 1, because when they clear this, if they're a smart player, they clear this, you feel like you need another copy. I don't know, maybe I do want another copy. I think it's really, really good, but it's also very, very bricky if you don't have an opening play, and your opening play gets disrupted and you have these in your hand. Yeah, it's not going to do very much. I mean, you could still technically open this with a ritual, and then you can still get out, I guess you can still get a Ceravis, but that's as far as you're going to go. For the extra deck, we have Elder Entity Entis, just so we can pop cards along the way we go. Super Poly options, we have Garura and the Mud Dragon, and an extra Garura so that we can throw it into the graveyard with the Deer Servant. Then we have, for the Synchros, we have 2 copies of Herald of the Arclight. 1 to ditch into the graveyard through Herald, the other to ditch through Nadir Servant or Dogmatica Maximus. We also have Enigmaster Packbit. I'm just trying this out over Malong, seeing how good this can play out. Sometimes your opponent pushes your stuff into the back row. You can put this into the graveyard, put it into your own back row, and push out one of your own monsters. That's an option. Or you can push one of your opponent's monsters into their back row as well, if that's what you want to go for. And then 1 Chaos Angel, because it's kind of a given. Yes, it's in a different sleeve because I borrowed it from another deck. And then finally we have 1 Typhon, because it's Typhon. As for the Link monsters, 1 Farigit, as is part of the entire Maximus package for now. 1 Relinquish Anima, so you can absorb a monster and then get rid of it for Maxima. We have 1 Link Rebo, SP Little Knight, and we have 2 Dynamundo. These are your main clears, alright, against your opponent. You want to make this, you want to put your opponent's stuff back into the deck, and that's kind of why you want to play Dynamundo as well as reset up your negation, maintain control. That's it. That's the entire deck. That's it for this video. Hopefully you all enjoyed the Voiceless Voice, the combos, and the stuff to play under Droll. It's kind of fun to kind of showcase that kind of stuff. But this deck, I think it's best to play with it because there's so much variance based off of what's already in the hand. You're probably gonna hear this from a lot of other players too. It depends on what you have in the hand that makes the play better. But maintenance of the trap card and the Dragon Sage Ceravis is what allows you to grind in this particular build. So just keep that in mind and prioritize those particular cards' safety over the other ones. Alright, that's all I got for this one. So if you guys enjoyed this video, smash that thumbs up button, hit subscribe, ding the notification bell. Almost at 100K. Check out MST.TV, and I'll see you you all in the next one. Thanks for watching.